one of the things we were kind of talking about before we actually went on air was this Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley situation. Rhea Ripley is out with an injury. Liv Morgan is currently on her revenge tour in pursuit of the Raw Women's, not the Raw Women's, but the World Women's Championship that is on Raw. However, it seems as if they are pitching this kind of Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley love triangle, and I kind of wanted to see how you felt about it and like what was your stance on this particular storyline, if you will, or this direction, because it hasn't wrapped up yet. So
Right. I love the unpredictability with all of this because the day Rhea won, I know that she was basically kind of like a baby face, but she's in a heel faction. All
mm-hmm.
right. So when she won, technically she was like a heel. Uh but it's very interesting because yeah, you could have still kept going that direction with her character and Judgment Day would have been just fine. But like Rhea's so over and beloved, it's safe to like push her into a babyface stage because the fans are generally going to be bothered by this.
Mm,
They're gonna be so bothered because we kind of like learn to like love this whole dynamic that there is with Rhea with Dom,
yeah,
but it's like interesting because it looked like she was the one dominating Dom, right? Like she got
no
her
pun
way with
intended.
him. Yeah. No, it looked like for the longest that she was getting her way with him and, moving him around and telling him what to do. And now you got this thing with Liv now. And I like Liv in terms of like how she performs in the ring and I love her look. But where she always used to kill me is her promos because it just never came off. Maybe it was natural for her because she does have a very naturally annoying voice. And she doesn't really know how to make her face and her voice and the delivery all come together in one.
Yeah,
But for some reason, her coming out as a heel, which I don't think we've seen her behave like a heel since she was in like Riot Squad or something like that. It's just so natural, but it goes more natural and makes so much sense and it's the most perfect, most beautiful timing because she actually got history with Rhea.
yeah.
Like she actually does. And I just watched her just turn it on with this diva like personality, like this edge that she has where it's just like this girl has been a thorn in my spine and like I took it real personally that I thought we were going to be something, we were going to be a tag team together or something. You're supposed to be my best friend. You turned on me and I never let it go. I love the long-term booking, but what I love even more is I love me some mess. I love me a mess. I haven't seen an actual cheating storyline since you could go ahead and say like Edge and Lita. I think they tried to try it with Naomi and Mandy, but and that was the closest we got to see where it was like more so an angle that affected the girls than the males. But this time like they're going for it and we're going for it where they're kind of coming out of this PG era. Like now they're swearing, now they're not afraid to like fully put on the sexual innuendos. And as we watched on the show, they were giving out an interview, but they made it very apparent to let us see through that small window that Liv and Dom were walking out with each other. Like now they're being bold about it.
Yeah.
And Liv is moving quick and she's not wasting no time. She's like, I'm gonna take that belt from you. I'm gonna take that man from you. The way you broke me down and left me to just like lay down, die, and suffer, I'm going to make sure I kick you down while you're at your weakest.
Mm,
I love it. I love it so much because, like I said, I did not have faith in Liv after her feud with Becky. But I
mm,
feel like the same way Drew McIntyre just needed some form of an in, and he's taking it and he's running with it, and it just works. I love this for Liv. I think maybe she was meant to just be a heel all along to just kind of like get her to tap into that character, that personality that she does have. And I'm curious to know what they're going to do with it and what they're going to do with Dom because you have the power to like make a very another very overwhelming baby face that is with Rhea with this because again the audience is very much connected to Rhea. But
mm-hmm.
we all could get behind Liv and it kind of does give me like the edge. Like I could see the promos being on edge just like how we dealt with a heel Trish and a babyface Lita. Like we were supposed to hate Lita for cheating on Matt Hardy, and then the thing with Edge, and then they just kind of made her life shit with her being with Kane. But then we had Trish walk in being the iconic bitch that she is, and every time she had a chance to give a dig at Lita, she did it, and it actually made us sympathize with her. So
Yeah.
what I'm seeing from like a distance is something like that, a dynamic like that, where you kind of have the potential to take Liv out of feeling like she's like a mid card and put her in um, the top spot and kind of give us again that feeling that we had with Liv and Trish. No, not Liv,
Yeah.
Liv and Trish, Lita and Trish. I don't know, but I want to see how far they're going to go with this, and I want to see what kind of person they're going to make Dom out of it.
Mm.
What they're going to make his Y out of it. 'Cause, like the beef is between the girls, but it's like, all right, Dom, why did you do it? Why are you helping her? Were you sick and tired of Rhea like running the whole entire pack? Did you want to feel like you was actually Poppy this entire time?
Yeah.
You didn't like being ran over. There's so many layers to unpack with this and make it so juicy that it benefits everybody. And you could book this shit to like last a year if you wanted to, and push it to next Mania. If you know how to book it, if you know how to book it. But otherwise, it could still be just as juicy. I don't know how long is she gonna be out for?
I have no idea.
It
I
was her
honestly don't
shoulder
know.
blade
Yeah, it
that
was
was
like
messed up.
some like her shoulder, like her tricep or something. So that could be a
That's
6 month thing.
right. Okay, so that's good. That's actually good. That's 6 months of them messing around and Liv building herself up, and then you could take that and you could still push that into like being like part of next year's main event. But what do you think? Like, as far as the storyline, how would you book it? How is it affecting the others?
So I think Liv Morgan never lacked talent. I think she just lacked a motivating factor. I feel
Mm,
like there was no central motivating factor that Liv Morgan had that made her an interesting character until now. And
mm,
now her why is revenge. Why am I doing this? Because Rhea took years off of my career. Rhea betrayed me. I found a friend in her and a partner after I just lost two of my other best friends
mm,
in the Riot Squad. One was to another company, another one was to another faction in the Viking Raiders, right? And I
mhm,
feel like that's part number one. It's like I've been betrayed, years have been shaved off of my career, and now I need my get back. So now I'm doing this to feel a sense of affirmation. From Dom's perspective, if it was a matter of even tying it back into Ray being a deadbeat father, right? This idea that I didn't grow up with a figure who would affirm me and who would, reinforce my identity as a man. And what happens as a result of that? I now have to jump around from this person to this person to this person to this person so that I can get my affirmation fix that I never got from my actual dad, right?
mm.
So you can attack it from that angle. Like
Putting Rain, that is perfect.
I'm not loyal to a faction. I'm not loyal to a person. I'm loyal to the affirmation or the brand of affirmation that I didn't get as a kid. So wherever I can find that, I'm going to get it from there.
That
Not
movie was
only
built on
does that tie back
survival. Oh,
exactly.
I love this.
Not only
I'm
does it
sorry.
tie back into his first storyline with his dad, really, but it also sets him up to be a substantial heel for life because you could jump from one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing, and the why is just simply I need to be affirmed. And by the time he establishes a connection with somebody, that person can feel bonded to him. And then because they feel bonded, you start to sympathize for both of them, and
Mm,
right when you feel a sense of sympathy for the both of them, one breaks off, and Dominic could be the person that breaks off. And it's like now Dom is a coward. He's a you know what because he took advantage of whatever he was attached to and exploited it for his own selfish being.
mhm,
So you can do that. Now I do think this is going to build towards next Mania, um, and I do think that it's perfect for Dominic, and I think it's perfect for the women because in previous cheating storylines, the women were always seen as an accessory towards the men, but the men were never seen as an accessory towards the women. The men were never seen as the thing that can be taken from the women. The women were always seen as something that could be taken from the men. And I think that puts the power back in the woman's hand because now instead of the women being objectified, it's the men being objectified. The men are the pawns now. You right? And the women are the chess players that are kind of navigating that pawn to see where they land on the board. So I think that's another factor that you can consider. I love also, I feel like this is another reason why we have to give our credit to Roman Reigns and the Bloodline storyline.
hmm,
Because years ago, when he started this Bloodline storyline, he introduced this form of storytelling where you had to pay attention to the details. Before 2020, we weren't paying attention to camera shots like that. You know what I'm saying? Where we saw, where this person may be having an interview with Jey Uso, but in the background we see Liv coming out of a locker room and then Dominic Mysterio following. But that's all rooted in what Roman started as far as storytelling, a brand of storytelling where wrestling fans had to pay attention in order to be rewarded in the end, right? And I feel like because of that move by Roman Reigns and the bloodline, we're seeing it all across WWE and more specifically in this storyline. So I think that that's just like another big thing that makes this whole thing interesting. But I do feel like this is something that can wrap up at WrestleMania, because even though the draft wasn't necessarily the best this year, what I will say is that the draft this year felt like a season premiere. It felt like a new season to a show. And I feel like if you're starting a new season to the show, you need to start a new storyline. And if the season premiere is the night after Mania and the season finale is WrestleMania, you wrap everything up at Mania. You start at the night after Mania. And I
Yeah.
feel like that attack is a perfect setup. And you can just kind of gradually build. And if Rhea is this babyface that is set to be a babyface, or if Rhea is this heel that is set to be a babyface, near return, I feel like this is a perfect way to just slowly build her up. Even if she were to come back, you can still have her lose certain matches. You can have her be this close to getting the World Women's title and then it slip away. And mind you, she doesn't look weak because she never lost the title to begin with. So I feel
That, and
like,
I feel like it stomps out all of the critics that were saying that, "Oh, why is she at the top of the food chain? Why is she so important? Because she's just a sex symbol." Like, now, like, because of this accident happening, it's giving her layers, and it's
yeah,
stemming from the fact that, yeah, it started that because she was a sex symbol. But
but
now
yeah,
we're seeing vulnerability happen.
exactly. We see something that can connect the audience to her. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this kind of wraps up. We want to know how y'all feel about. I feel like I'm about to sneeze, but that's the reason why my eyes are closed. But we want to see how y'all feel about this whole Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Dom Mysterio storyline. Let us know in the comments below. We're moving on